Last week, when I was over for family dinner with the godchildren, Elizabeth announced in the middle of dinner we all needed to hurry up because after we finished, we were going to have cupcakes. I want to clarify that the cupcakes in question are plastic. They come apart in 3 pieces, and they sit on a custom cupcake stand, and there are 5 in total. In her mid-dinner announcement, she explained to me that normally when she divides up the cupcakes, that Purple, the bunny, gets one. But when family is over for dinner, she has to adjust. So tonight, I would be getting Purple's cupcake. As I sat in the chair trying to cover my face from the ugly girl tears, her father looks up from affirming the sharing policy and asked me what was wrong. "She called me family," I blurted. I could care less about that cupcake. She said, "When family is over, I am family." And by the time we had finished dinner, Elizabeth was frustrated about how long we took. Clearly not fast enough for her taste, but she rallied and started to hand out cupcakes. She would carefully pick one from the stand and announce the person's name and bring it to them. "Matt Scott, here is your cupcake. Tina Scott, here is your cupcake. And now, my turn. Allie Scott, that's me." My hand shot straight up. "That's me." She handed me the cupcake and told me not to eat it until I was told to. I looked at her mother and smiled and asked, "Did she learn about family names in school this week?" "I don't know." You can guarantee, though, I was not going to correct her about my last name. There was no need to confuse her. It was a big night for me already, and I wasn't going to ruin it. Our gospel reading for today is known as the gotcha question. It is a gotcha question because the Pharisees knew exactly what they are asking. There is no right answer for Jesus. No matter what his response to these goons, it was going to be on the losing end. Let's look at the context of this passage before we dive any deeper. The setting of this conversation is taking place between Palm Sunday and Good Friday. Jesus has just entered Jerusalem on a donkey. People were waving palm branches, and he was given a king's entry into the city. So the Pharisees, before asking the question, tried to build Jesus up with this sort of flowering language. "Teacher, we know you are sincere and teach the way of God in accordance with truth and show no deference to no one. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not?" This has terrible trap written all over it, and Jesus knew it. His response was, "Why are you putting me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the tax." If Jesus says it's unlawful to pay taxes, the people will be pleased, but Jesus will be liable for arrest by the Romans. This is what the Pharisees wanted him to say because they also knew that it would be the thing that would have him killed at the hands of the empire, which would be great for them because then they could go about their way of running things without Jesus' input. If Jesus says that it is lawful to pay taxes to the emperor, he alienates the people who hate the Roman occupation and its Caesar. You have an entire group of people who are oppressed by the Roman government, who have not only occupied their homeland, but are taxing them on top of it. This is the trap. But by this time in the day, Jesus is well warmed up for this treacherous game of chess. He sees through their sarcasm to their malice and that lies beneath and brands them hypocrites. And this is why Jesus seems to carry no coins. The Pharisees dare not carry Roman coins, for they bear the blasphemous image of Tiberius Caesar, and the inscription proclaims him divine. Yet when Jesus asked for a Roman coin, they readily provided it. There in the sacred place of the temple, the Pharisees possessed the idolatrous image. Jesus was right when he called them hypocrites. Jesus' response: "Give therefore to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's." And just like that, he cleared the temple. They were amazed, and they left and went away. They went away because it was in this moment that they realized that the life that Jesus is calling us to is more than money, it's more than taxes, more than profit, more than just making sure everyone gets their fair share, more than being right, more than earning potential. If we're honest, we view ourselves and others by our value, by what we do, what we make, what we have made, and we tie all of that to money. We have this distorted view on ourselves that somehow you are your money. Your value is determined by what you own. But Jesus reminds us that our value is based on being made in the image of God, the imago Dei, the image of God. Baptism then becomes the watermark of our true currency. If Caesar wants what's made in his image, give him that. But make sure God gets what is made in God's image. This watermark that we carry around on us, this true image, can sometimes be difficult to recognize. When we look in the mirror, we tend to see the inscription that our business with the world has left on us. You are what you look like, what you have, where you live, what you drive, what you wear, what you do, and the company you keep. Nevertheless, underneath all those inscriptions is a much deeper mark, that watery sign of the cross on your forehead, sealed in baptism. I believe it's the image we see most clearly, not when we look in the mirror, but when we look at each other. When we take a moment, look deeply at those around us, past the inscriptions of this world, and there before us we see the imago Dei. This image of the one to whom we belong. There we find the watermark. There we find who we really belong to. Stewardship then is just about our whole lives. It's about reframing the way we understand what Jesus is calling us to, not only in this passage, but in our Christian life. It's more than just making sure it's more than making sure that we pay our taxes to this place and that. It's about making sure that we are using our whole lives well, that we have taken stock of what we have and how we might begin to give it away. I believe this is why my goddaughter caught me by surprise the other night at the dinner table with her cupcakes. She's starting to understand what family is, who they are, and what those relationships mean to her. None of us knew what we were doing when we all agreed that me being her godparent was a good idea. I believe that none of us could have predicted that she was going to figure all this out on her own and so quickly. And what I mean by that is this. She is growing up in a family, not only in a nuclear family, but in a family that has been marked by the imago Dei. She has the ability to see past all the inscriptions of this world that is placed on her parents and me, and she sees right past all of that. And when she sees me, she sees the faint watermark of my baptism that places us in the same family. She knows who I belong to, and she knows who she belongs to, and she knows that makes us family. We are citizens of the same kingdom. In the Gospel of Luke, there is this great line towards the end of chapter 12, and Jesus has told his disciples not to worry about what they will eat or what they will wear, where they'll sleep. And at the very end, he says this to them: "Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Jesus tells the Pharisees gathered in the temple that Caesar can have what is his, but the rest belongs to God. God holds all of it. All of it is God's. And when the disciples were worried about where their next meal was going to come from, Jesus tells them, it's God's good pleasure. It brings him joy to give you the kingdom. Are we starting to understand and see the cyclical nature of God's kingdom? We have been marked by Christ as Christ's own. We're citizens of a new kingdom where our value is found in nothing else. We can pay our taxes and give the rest away back to God, and in return, it will bring God joy. and will be God's good pleasure to give it all back to us again. It's like the great cupcake giveaway that happens after dinner. The people are counted, the cupcakes are counted, and wouldn't you know, there is enough. Your name is called and you get one. The joy Elizabeth gets from passing out cupcakes over and over again is ridiculous and unexplainable. We have to imagine that this is what Jesus is getting at when he's trying to describe to his disciples what it is like for God to take care of them and us. We are asked to do all we're asked to do in return, to give to God what is God's, to make sure that God gets what is made in God's image. We are the Imago Dei, citizens of another kingdom, and our true currency is found in our baptism. Our value is in knowing this and being willing to give it all away over and over again. Amen.